Hey guys, I'm Craig Slate.
And I'm Ed Bertod.
And you're listening to
The Fresh Craig. A ton of great people to talk to. Our first has joined us right now.
Who? Who has joined us? Pray tell.
Kim Chackal from Equifruit. Did I pronounce it right?
That's right.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, Kim.
Hello. Nice to see you both in person.
Nice to see you as well. You know, I mentioned earlier on the intro, it's like you're a known entity in the business, right?
Oh.
You know, with your creative marketing skills and you know, putting badass bananas on the map.
That's right.
You know, so knew of you, knew about you, but didn't really know you until we got into this. So this is really exciting for me, and I don't think you didn't have.
We never met, no.
No.
Thanks for being here, by the way.
That's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All the way from Canada?
All the way from sunny Canada. Yeah.
Wow.
Sunny Canada.
Yeah, based in Montreal.
Awesome.
So Ed was talking a little bit about the weather. It's a little cooler here than where he's from out of South Texas, and certainly for me out of Tucson. But what's the weather like in Montreal?
Montreal weather right now can be all over the map. I left Montreal a couple days ago when it was just a whole week of rain coming ahead, flood warnings, really hot and humid. But the week before was crisp and cool mornings, and then going to, you know, like 100 degrees in the afternoon. So it's all over the place.
Wow.
You'd really never know what you're going to get in Montreal between May could be snow, or you could be ordering an air conditioning unit. It's really a...
Wow. It's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, exactly.
So snow in May. So what is the latest it will snow there?
Sometimes May.
May's kind of the latest time frame.
It might. You never know. I mean, usually by the end of April, you're done. You're ready to get into spring, but you know, there are surprises some years.
And when you get back to winter, how soon does that start back? Or it's
You're
snowing.
in
When
it.
can it snow again? I
You're
guess?
really in it usually by December. December is when it'll snow. It might start in November too.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, we've had some years where November you're already like buying your ski passes and getting ready to go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Pretty long winter.
Very long winter. Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, it's a really, really long winter. But thankfully, working in bananas, I can go and visit that nice 58-degree weather from time to time and warm up.
So bananas. All right. So is that how you got into produce? I mean, what's your trajectory? How did you get here?
I do not have a produce background whatsoever. I've worked in sales and marketing since I was a teenager. It's something that has always appealed to me. I was, you know, going door to door as a little kid, selling candies, selling strings, selling bracelets, setting up shops at school. So I was always very entrepreneurial from a young age. I was actually, you know, headed towards a degree thinking about marketing, thinking about communications and advertising. That was an industry that really captured my interest. But I ended up studying psychology. I ended up doing a year of classical French cooking, kind of just following my gut to what I found really interesting and pertinent. And then I ended up in produce from, you know, going through a couple different doors. I went into marketing in the spa and beauty industry, how to do direct marketing and build a new clientele for the spa and beauty industry. Did that for years. And then after my culinary degree, I thought it would be nice to get into catering and event planning. So I had about 7 or 8 years there. And
low stress.
Oh, so you know
so
what?
So you're into low stress industry.
Yeah, right? Low stress. You know what? I love that industry. It's super high stress, but at the end of the day, you want to delight your customer and keep everybody happy. And when you anticipate all the things that can go wrong and be ready for them and have that solution on site and keep your customer happy, it's such a great feeling. And when you train your staff to deliver above and beyond the expectation of the customer and everybody's happy, it's a great feeling. So I've always just been into marketing, into sales. Sales is just in my blood. And I ended up falling into bananas kind of by chance. Our president, she bought the company back in 2013.
Okay.
And a year later, our kids were in the same daycare, and I ended up seeing a fair trade mark on her lapel one day. And it just kickstarted this discussion.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, oh yeah, I work in fair trade bananas. And I'd heard about coffee, you know, fair trade coffee or chocolate, or maybe what comes to mind when you think about fair trade. I didn't know a fair trade banana existed or why it needed to exist. So she sent me home with some books, and I said, if you want your business to grow, hire me. I'm good at my job. I'm very relentless. When you give me a mission, I'm just going to go for it 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed to show up in yellow Crocs.
So I love the shoes. The Crocs are awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I need to see if they got. I can get some squash Crocs for sunfed. So I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe a green one, a yellow one on each.
Do it.
Foot, so.
I'm telling you, all the ladies especially, they passing by and they're all uncomfortable in their shoes and their backs hurt, and we're just living our best life.
I see the banana croc pin too.
Yeah, we had those custom made, our Equifruit banana, and then we've got our shark gibbets too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I've
when
got
did
a
you?
drawer full of them at home.
What's that?
My daughter has
Oh, the Crocs.
5 pairs of Crocs and
All these
probably
gibbets.
10 times too many
Yeah.
to fit in all those pairs. So
You should get her some of these. She would love. Some.
I have some that I've gotten for Christmas that
But you
aren't
don't
even
have
open.
Any, you don't have any.
Come
real
and
banana
see us at booth 900. I've got extra ones
Oh,
for her.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm there.
they're
You're
custom
done.
too.
I'm there.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you get so your friend, lady that your kids are in daycare, you
Yeah.
go to work for. When was this?
I'm in my 9th year now with Equifruit, so it was 2015 that we started talking about working together. 2014, and then started in 2015 on a more full-time basis.
And so, had you been so there's some oddities, differences, right? I mean, you got a shark. In fact, we had the shark in earlier, guys. Sorry you didn't get to see the sharks out rolling around at the show here,
Yeah.
but you have a shark is
Yes.
kind of your mascot, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, sharks are very heavily integrated into our branding. Basically, we are an importer and marketer of bananas. 100% of what we import is fair trade certified, and that's what sets us apart in the industry. We're trying to change the banana industry and redistribute value along the banana supply chain. And that's a pretty scary message for retailers at times, to think about disrupting something that has been on autopilot for decade after decade after decade. And so we have fine-tuned our messaging and really made a big change back in 2020 and decided to go all in with something new and fresh that was going to convert the conventional customer and get people to pay attention to us in a new and fresh way. So we sharks became a big part of our branding, and we're just continuing to fine tune it. Whatever's sticky, whatever's memorable. I have people that text me and send me messages on a weekly basis. Just this week, our logistics provider out of the Port of Philly, he was at IKEA, he saw bananas on something, he had to take a picture and send it to us. I'll have people in a Croc store, and they'll send me pictures of like the newest Crocs that are out there. We landed a speaking gig at Harvard this year because the sharks in our branding caught the professor's eye, and her husband studies coral reefs, and she teaches a course on social sustainability. So it's working for us. We just keep doing crazy things, and it kind of lets people have fun in a way that they didn't expect to in the industry, and I think that it's making people smile. And then when they learn about the fact that we want to have positive impact for our farmer partners and that it is changing things, it's kickstarting the discussion along the industry, I think that there's this kind of groundswell of support for Equifruit and what we're trying to accomplish as a brand.
Well,
Go ahead.
we just took a photo with the shark earlier, and
Yeah.
I knew we'd hear more about it, but I'm kind of surprised that I didn't even ask why there was a shark.
You didn't think to ask
a shark
about-
zeppelin, mini zeppelin, in our studio here. But hey, I figured we'd hear more about it, so that's interesting.
Yeah, well, and what's also interesting, you talk about fair trade, and obviously some of us wonks in the business very familiar with it, but what you guys are, just real briefly, a little bit what you guys are trying to do, and what exactly does fair trade mean, and how is that changing the banana industry? Let's go with that.
Right. So bananas shouldn't be so cheap. That's the problem that we're trying to solve. And we can see prices fluctuate on other commodities, especially over the last 3 years with the pandemic. Now we're talking about inflation, possible recession. We still see bananas staying at the same price, but we've seen all this fluctuation, and we expect that fluctuation across categories. That's really the problem that we're trying to solve. For us, we could, as a brand, do our own thing and decide what does sustainability look like for us. Instead, we wanted to partner with the most rigorous fair trade certification out there. So that's Fair Trade International, fair trade in one word. You'll see that same logo on a pint of Ben & Jerry's next time you enjoy that. And being certified by Fair Trade means that Equifruit is certified, and it also means that all of our farmer partners in Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Nicaragua, and Mexico are all certified by Fair Trade International. The foundation of Fair Trade is a fair price to the farm for FOB for that box of bananas on a weekly basis in a year-long contract. These are small business owners, and they need to have stability of income. They need to be able to get loans from the banks to build their businesses. So what Fair Trade does is they work with each country to determine what is the minimum fair trade price per commodity, whether it's conventional or organic, and that's the price that is meant to reflect the cost of sustainable production. To my knowledge, Fair Trade International is the only certifying body that reviews that price annually to make sure that that still is where it should be, or they adjust accordingly. So that is that base price. We also have to pay something called a Fair Trade Social Premium, which is $1 per case, which has to then be reinvested in projects that have positive economic, environmental, or social impact. And what's really unique about the system is that we, as the importer, have no input at all on how that fair trade money is spent. That is decided democratically by the farms, by the workers. They know their needs best. And we get a full audit at the end of the year because everything is audited by a third party called FlowCert, and we know how that money was spent so that we can work with our retail partners and tell those cool stories in the sustainability report. And of course, beyond the price, there are a host of standards that have to be respected. You know, there's a dark side of agriculture, especially in the global south. So ensuring gender equity, no forced child labor, things like that all fall within those fair trade standards.
Are there any triggers that would initiate a review in less than a year? I mean, you mentioned annual reviews.
So they will audit annually, and I think that beyond the annual audit, there wouldn't be anything that would trigger specifically. I guess if there was any type of whistleblowing in the area, if they saw something, then that could fast track an audit for sure.
Well, I think he means maybe like fuel
economic
prices, let's say fuel prices go through the roof, which we've seen, or you have currency devaluation that or goes the other way, either way.
Yeah, so I mean, the way that it's built is that we have to respect that fair trade price year long, no matter what's happening with the market. If the market price on bananas were to magically go above that fair trade price, which I've never seen that happen, then the farmers do have the right to negotiate above that fixed price. But it's meant to be that safety net all year round. Yeah, and I mean, you would not believe the prices that I see on bananas. I have different banana exporters throughout the year that will text me or send me a WhatsApp message and say, I've got spot pricing on, conventional bananas, $2 a case, or, when the war broke out, like the quarter of Ecuadorian market was going to Russia and Ukraine. That market was lost overnight. It had a really, really huge ripple effect on supply and demand. And so that's really why we do what we do. We're, as a brand, we know we're not going to achieve that global fair trade banana domination on our own. That's really our mission. We're there to encourage the big multis to also rethink beyond the sustainability commitments that they have made, that they continue to make. Let's go down to what the core of sustainability is, which is paying farmers fairly. If a farmer is not guaranteed a sustainable income, then the soccer ball doesn't change their life, or the school doesn't change their life. As a business owner, you need to be able to feel good and feel like your work is valued and dignified. And so that's something that we're really excited to do with our partners.
That's good. That's awesome. And you're right. I mean, across agriculture, it's that's a struggle no matter what the commodity is, no matter what's going on. And in the U.S., we don't realize how affordable things are comparatively. I spent quite a few years in the banana business myself, and realistically, the prices haven't changed much from when I was doing it 20 some odd years ago. And realistically, if you look back even 30, 40 years ago, retail prices aren't really much different.
No, and I was just chatting with somebody this morning. We were just talking about how, because often when people meet somebody from Equifruit and they're fascinated by how we're doing what we're doing, and we talk about how this problem is so big. It's a really large global issue. Only 4% of the global market is traded under fair trade terms. You know, there's a huge opportunity for growth. And when we think about at the retail level, everything that retailers are doing to innovate these days and to meet the consumer's needs, who we don't have as much time. You often have 2 people working in a household. We're willing to pay for convenience. We still want to sacrifice quality or flavor, but we're reworking our budgets. You know, we're eating out more despite what's happening because it's just the reality of life. We need that convenience. And then when we're proposing to come in with a fair trade banana program, raise the price a little bit, it'll cost the consumer anywhere between $8 to $10 more per year. It's nothing, you know. It's the cost of I spent that much on. I mean, Crocs are
Your
$50.
Crocs are, I was gonna say,
My
they're more
Crocs
than
are
$8.
$50, right? The gibbets, that gibbet is like $10, right?
Yeah.
I can either support fair trade banana farmers for a year, or I can have a shark in my shoe.
Yeah. So,
Gotta have a shark in your shoe.
yeah. So, well, what do you do? All right. So that's the business side. That's the fruit side. That's how you got into this.
Yeah.
You know, you obviously have a passion for marketing.
Yes.
What else? Are you a runner? You a tennis player? You any hobbies, sports wise or non-sports? Or
It sounds like skiing is probably a big part of it.
You know, I don't love the cold, and I don't love the heat. I love strolling in the breeze of the spring and the fall.
Okay.
No, when I'm not injured, I do love to cycle. I love yoga, Pilates, and keeping in shape, whatever that looks like. I have 3 young kids, so that's my workout these days is mostly shopping at Costco.
Hey there.
All my heavy lifting.
Speed shopping?
Oh no, I'll take my time. Yeah, I'll take my time. I love to go to the grocery stores. I love our industry. I love fresh produce, and I'm really curious about grocery stores generally. Whenever we're on holiday, you know, it's just known that I just have to pop in and do a couple stops.
Yeah. So I think
We're with you.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think that must
Yeah.
when you're in this business, that becomes part of your. I mean, you're passionate about it through and through.
For
You
sure.
know, in my family, it's like anytime we're in a grocery store, I mean, I make a beeline to the produce department to take a look around and
Yeah.
see what everybody else is doing
Yeah.
as well as us. So
Yeah, it's always fun. I mean, and I love cooking. You know, I said earlier, I studied cooking for a year. That's a real passion of mine. In the middle of COVID, treated myself to a Traeger grill, so got into smoking. My goal for this year is to really perfect brisket. So I love meat and produce.
Wow.
Yeah.
we
They
should
smoke
talk.
brisket in Canada?
Well, apparently they do now.
Yes.
They have sharks with bananas, so that's
right.
Eating
you know,
brisket.
brisket in Canada is not that far off.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely need to talk. I mean,
There's a couple brisket places in Texas if you ever
Oh my
get our
gosh.
way.
where's
Let
that?
me know.
Where would you recommend brisket in Texas?
Well, oddly enough, the place that I would recommend is one that I haven't been to yet, but I have faith that it's great.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Okay, and their marketing is great. It's called the Burnt Bean in Seguin, Texas.
Okay, sign me up.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's a hybrid Tex-Mex barbecue, but it looks phenomenal.
Oh,
like it's
man.
not gas station Tex-Mex barbecue. It looks like they do it right. I
Yeah.
honestly haven't been there yet.
Well, I cannot wait to go to Texas. It's a state that I haven't had the pleasure of visiting yet, but I very much center travel around eating. My husband and I went to Mexico earlier this year, and I mean we chose the destination based on the cuisine.
Oh wow.
Because as Canadians, we can travel to Cuba or Dominican Republic for a better price, but the pleasure of enjoying delicious food is worth.
Now, where'd you
You
go
know.
in Mexico?
We were about an hour from Cancun in
Oh,
Playa
okay.
del Carmen.
So
Yeah.
Mexico City's got some amazing restaurants.
Do you have any lobster tacos?
I did not.
Mm.
No.
That's the place to get them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll just have to go again.
So how you doing on the brisket? How you done so far?
I have not attempted it yet. But
No?
This is my goal for. I've been
Can
doing
you buy a whole brisket up there?
it. Yeah, you
They
can.
actually sell those up there?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I can crush a pork shoulder, and I've done a couple like really long slow cooks on the pork shoulder, and I'm just easing into it. But I mean, I watch all the shows, all the cooking shows like Top Chef and all the fun stuff online, and I know that there are quite a bit of nuances when it comes to brisket. Like I remember learning, I think you have to go for the left side of the brisket and not the right, because that part of the animal actually doesn't get as much exercise, oddly, and so it's going to be a more tender meat. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a whole science.
I'm
yeah.
gonna look
I mean,
that
there's
up.
a flat and a point, which are different. One is more fatty than the other.
Yeah, but apparently the side of the animal that it came from is more coveted with the brisket connoisseurs, which I hope to be one day.
Well, it is all about time.
Yes.
But we're in California, especially this part of California.
Oh, I know where you're going.
What, tri-tip?
Tri-tip.
Yeah.
So he always goes to tri-tip.
Well, because it blows me away that
nobody knows about it back outside of
anywhere
California.
else. Yeah, I mean, I went to the butcher store where I usually buy meat, and I asked for a tri-tip, and they looked at me like I had 3 heads.
Yeah.
And then they called like the head butcher at home to ask him, hey, what's a tri-tip? And it's a sirloin roast is basically what it is, but very popular here in California, especially like from here down to Santa Maria.
Right. Well, they have them in Arizona. In fact, I've gotten to where instead of cooking, so tri-tip, usually it's much smaller. So I got to where I smoke those versus doing a full brisket, because you got to have a few folks if you're going to be eating a brisket. But
for sure.
But yeah, time and do you enjoy a cerveza every now and then, a beer? Mm-hmm. Do you? Oh, that's the key.
Yeah.
Right? 24 hours and 24 beers. You're all set.
24 beers.
They have those everywhere. You don't have to go to Mexico for that.
I think I can take a fraction of the 24 there.
But you know, well, don't. You can skimp on the beer, but don't skip on the time for the brisket. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Slow and cool. That's how you want to cook them.
Oh yeah, for sure. My dream is actually to get like one of those full spits. You know, I'll see like the whole. I don't know if you're Costco shoppers, but they'll sell in Canada like a whole lamb, and I've got to get that. I don't know where you defrost this lamb or like the whole process.
So my next hobby. Hopefully, I've been watching this guy on Instagram, and he's a butcher, but he's teaching people how to break down their own primals.
Yeah.
And so they buy the primals, you know, the big package, and cut it, you know, break it all down. Yeah. That's what I want to start doing.
Yeah, I have said that before too, that if I could go back and do, you know, another year of school, I would just study butchery. Wow. I really, really enjoyed that butchery section of school.
So I'm a hunter, and I've already told Craig this story, but not last year, but 2 years ago. And this is not the first time it's happened, but we just happened to have the good fortune of hunting with 3 retired butchers.
Oh my goodness.
And watching them work was a real treat.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really something.
They were actually 3 guys. They worked for Safeway for like 40-something years.
Really?
Each, almost 40, 50 years.
That's handy to have.
Oh my gosh. They had their aprons and their, you know, they have like a plastic chain with the thing hanging.
Right,
their knives
and like the sharpest knives on the planet, right?
Crazy. Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
So you're not a hunter, are you?
No, I'm not a hunter. I've never hunted. I don't know if I would be comfortable hunting, but I can grocery shop like it's nobody's business.
Well, like I say, Ed is definitely, he's got an annual trip that he goes off and roughs it in the woods for a couple of weeks. So that is his thing.
I should probably do that at some point. Add it to my bucket list.
You mentioned bucket list. I don't know, what is on your bucket list that you want to see come to fruition? What's like top of your list?
Well, aside from changing the banana industry, which I know is going to take, it's going to add some wrinkles to this face. I mean, I really would love to continue to travel and see the world and eat authentic cooking and street food all around the place. My boss, the president of the company, her and I have like dreamt about going to Southeast Asia and just going on like a eating tour. My husband's allergic to all the nuts, so we can't do that. Right. You know, that's like a part of the world that would probably kill him. So she'd be a stand-in for that dream bucket list.
Yeah, but that's cool. Yeah. So now would you do a show along with that? You think? You know, do you know, while you guys go and do your eating tour?
Maybe.
Tie that into the whole Equifruit shark.
That could be cool.
So you watch a lot of cooking shows. There's a series on Netflix. It's all about tacos.
Yes.
So from all over Mexico and how they vary amongst different regions.
Yes.
It's really, really cool.
I've watched that.
Have you?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Chef's Table. Chef's Table
That's
did
a
a
good
whole
one.
thing about different taco chefs. Yeah, I love it. I love the I love the way that food can surprise you and delight you and be such a wonderful experience. And just the passion that goes into it. And then tying that back to produce, even without any preparation, just the way that nature can produce all these beautiful flavors and all the hard work and love that goes into growing a banana or growing a tomato or growing a berry. And when they do it right and that flavor is there, it's such a wonderful eating experience.
Right.
And because it's just not manipulated in any way, it's even more magical that it just came from the earth.
So do you have a favorite recipe, if you do have one that highlights bananas like as a savory component to a meal?
Oh, okay. Not savory.
Okay.
No, I can't say I've delved much into the savory banana cooking. I don't love to bake, but I'll do it because I'm in the banana business, so you can imagine how many ripe bananas I have on my counter in my life. So I do a lot of unmeasured baking, and I've become quite good at making
Banana bread?
but
Banana pudding?
with all the dietary restrictions in my home, one of my sons is allergic to everything under the sun, so making like vegan we can have gluten. Thank God we can have gluten. But yeah, just messing around with that, other good fair trade ingredients like chocolate and sugar and whatnot.
You might need like a separate building for your kitchen
Yeah.
so you can cook and enjoy.
Oh, it's so funny. Whenever I go on work travel, like the first thing I'm doing at the airport is loading up on all the nuts and all the things that I can't have in my everyday life.
Right.
Wild.
Yeah, totally wild. But you know what though? If you lived, there's no butter in my fridge. Right? Can we
Wow.
just commiserate over that for a
Man,
moment?
wow,
So
that-
like,
That's tough.
I couldn't
maybe
make it
that's why
without
my
butter.
bucket list is a little boring. I just want to go. I just want to be
wanna go
unleashed so
eat
that I can
somewhere.
go
Just go
eat.
eat, yeah, freely eat.
Maybe once I'm like fed, then I can start dreaming about like jumping out of an airplane or something.
Well, look, we are getting the wrap sign.
Okay.
It has been a great pleasure.
Before we go, I have a couple little treats for you. Okay.
We like treats.
Uh-oh.
I just wanted to thank you for having me on today. Now you can open this kit later or
Okay.
now, whatever you'd like. But this is our Banana Badass starter kit. We're getting people set up. For years we've been telling people to become banana badasses.
Uh-huh.
But this just gives them a couple of tools to make sure that it happens for real. And then I've got these little treats for you too, for your future
Are these
future
tattoos?
podcasting.
Oh, now
Are
we
Oh,
these
go.
tattoos?
We've got a full tattoo sleeve in there for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
I
So
wanna
that
put it on my
if
face.
you're not ready to commit,
Put it on your face.
I was gonna put it on my face.
Good for you.
if you're not quite ready to commit. But there you go. You've got the Equifruit
Thank you so
mug,
much.
the coveted mug.
Very
So
thoughtful.
these, yeah, look at
This is
this.
the shark. This is where the shark comes in.
Yeah.
Banana Badass.
And when you're ready to represent, we've got you some
Wow.
Equifruit swag.
Tell you what, we
Yeah.
are swagged up.
So we're at the show today, booth 900. We're going to have a shark drone above. Anything we can do to get you to stop and pay attention to us, it's pretty obvious.
No, that's great. I mean, you guys,
The
seriously.
drone, I called it a zeppelin. earlier. That was a little outdated, I think.
But what you guys are doing, like I say, both from the fair trade angle and trying to do right by the farmers, certainly it's commendable. Exciting to watch what you're doing from a marketing standpoint. And,
Thank you.
Like I say, and for me, it's certainly a pleasure to have you here with us today and get a chance to learn a little bit more about you and
Thank you.
your passion for cooking and your desire to just someday eat just wildly any kind of crazy food like
Nuts and butter.
like butter.
Nuts and
Get you
butter.
some nut and butter.
Yeah.
But no, Kim, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the gifts.
My pleasure.
We
Thanks
for being with
will
us.
look forward to seeing everybody. Be sure and stop by. It's booth 900.
That's right.
Booth 900. Be sure and stop by there. Look, if you're watching this later, as we put this out later, check out their website. Check them out. How can they find you guys online? That's
Yeah, so you'll go to equifruit.com, EQUIFruit.com, and we're on all social platforms at Equifruit. And we have hilarious and bold content every week, keeping it fresh, keeping it really culturally relevant.
excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it's super fun.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We're going to take a little break.
Yes, let's do that. I think.